Hello, and welcome back to Actual Play, Scum and Villainy Persephone. We just got off of the Cove with Ula Dyson back on the ship, and we're going to go over the Holt system to Planet Omega, named that way because you should never, ever, ever go there to try and find a time tree artifact. Yay! It's going to be great. I'm sure we won't be eaten by the things that can smell our breath.
Sorry, I have my own little monster that can smell my breath. It's very adorable.
Oh no,
monster,
Mega. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So are we moving in the direction of like an engagement role?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I think there's probably a montage. Is there anything anyone wants to do before we dive in? All right, let's do a couple of montagey bits. I think there's a moment where we see the Rin Holt gate, which is the jump gate between the Rin system and the Holt system. And most gates are like, we've seen a couple of jumps, like we've seen you folks go to Iota, and we've got the double rings, and we've seen like the Yez ship come out of the gate from I think it's called Black Sun to Rin. And when you approach the Holt gate, there's a whole secondary set of contraptions around it, and there's no different reaction. It's just this gate seems more complex and there's more around it. Something that people don't know is that the portal is not 100% stable. Every once in a while the gate opens to nothing. So stuff, but it's fine today. It just works, and there's no questions or problems, and you go through in the blink of an eye. There's the moment where you enter the gate and the moment where you exit the gate, and sometimes you exit the gate a few moments before you entered the gate. Gates are weird. But yes, it takes a significant amount of time to actually make it to planet Omega. It's kind of a weird planet on the outskirts of the system. Holt is just a weird system, and I say that with like emphasis on weird being a high rating in this system. A lot of the planets are very strange. One of them is an ocean world with weird graphitic wells, and the Memish come from there. There is a planet with crystals that are mined and used in tech that has some like odd properties where they like are potentially like way sensitive. There is a tidally locked planet with a day and night like set where people live on a small band in the middle. And you are headed towards a planet that has been labeled for many miles out as like, do not enter, do not get close to. If you go to this planet and attempt to leave, we will shoot you and light you on fire. But it's not a big deal because your friends in the Agony, such a great name. They're such good people, I'm sure.
Do you have any cults? Do you have any like way or mystic cults in the book that are not like, these people are terrifying?
I mean, yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I will point out that the Lost Legion has some friends amongst them. Do you know about? Once upon a time, they were called the Church of the Emerald Heart, and now they're called the Mendicants.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yep.
They love healing people and being generally nice, and occasionally they turn into, horrific white creatures. But they're fine. They're fine. They're nice. It's just like the weird emerald. They like rip out their own hearts and replace them with artifacts, and sometimes that has side effects. It's
right.
It's
not
fine.
at all like the Agony.
No. But like the Agony does not want peace and love and happiness. The Mendicants want to heal the sick and, remove pain from those that are suffering. They're genuinely good. There's absolutely no problems. Please do not be terrified of their forms. It's just a physical byproduct. That's fine. So that happens. Like it's fine. But yeah, the Agony sends you some flight paths and routes, right? And so I will ask you a thing, Sean. You get dark hyperspace lane like coordinates.
Nice.
And we saw you piloting it with the owl earlier. Do you want to use some of your newfound way training, or are you just like on the path and just nowhere near getting a first out of attune?
I'm 2 ticks away from getting a dot of attune. So I have 4 out of 6 right now. So
I'm sorry, I just saw Lawrence Planet. Oh no, Mega.
yeah.
It's incredibly good.
All right, continue, please.
I think that there's a little bit, if we imagine the Luke shooting the Death Star, where he hears Obi-Wan and he disables the targeting computer and trusts in his gut. I don't think Whisper is there yet. I think Whisper is doing the astronavigation calculations and like looking at them askance and trying to trust his hunch a little bit to see if maybe the results are not exactly what they were. So I think he's inclined to like he like second guesses some of the nav computer's outputs to trust on that. So if you're asking, will I try and make an attune roll to see if I can figure this out? Yeah, sure. I'll see.
Cool. I think, do you want assistance from Horrocks or do you want to do this in secret? Because I feel like she would do this as part of training, right? Like,
how proud is?
Yeah, I don't know. That's not a question I can answer, and I don't want to force that scene.
I think Whisper would be a very shitty instructor if what he lived by the idea that when you're learning something, you shouldn't ask your instructor for how to do it. I think he would be a very poor model to his students if he couldn't receive instruction. And that doesn't mean that he wouldn't be. Some people, I'm sure, are like that, but that's not what I envision Whisper. So
that's cool.
I think Whisper is a little embarrassed about it because he's so frankly prejudiced about the way and the dangers present. But I think if there was an opportunity to like be like, Horrocks, could you check these numbers? Because I get a feeling like they might not be right.
Yeah, I think she sits down and there's like one of those funny scenes where, you know, she's just like, she like tries to talk you through it a little bit, and then, you know, she's just like, you're like, do I go left here? And she's like, very good. And you're like, do I go left here? And she's like, no. You know, and it goes a little bit like that every once in a while. She's like, chop. And you're like, and then like, you know, you hit like some section of like rough patch or whatever. But I think there's probably at least a couple of left now, your other left, you know.
Yeah. Everyone hold on. Willa maybe need to fix that seatbelt after all. And yeah. And you know, the fun thing about space travel is that you can you could travel in all sorts of directions. Suddenly we drop, suddenly we raise, suddenly the inertial dampeners flip and we're going in reverse. You know, it's Star Trek has definitely showed us that you can sway left and you can sway right, but I would argue you can sway forward and back too.
Up and down a little.
Up and down. Yeah. Do you want me to make an attune roll to try and do this? To try and
no. I think it's just cinematic. Like if you want to spend a coin for like more training, you can do that. But if not, it's fine. Oh wait, you can't. You can only train an ability once. Yeah.
Twice,
yeah.
I would. Totally
so yeah, it's fine though. I think it's cinematic and fun, and then we're landing on this space station, and this place is creeptastic. Like when you open up your doors, like there is that cloaked, many-eyed, I mean perfectly normal human, you know, it's just like, friends, it is wonderful to see you again. This way, please. You know,
is this the same person that gave us the job back?
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
And
great.
It's
what's their name? They told us so far. I forget.
Oh, it's like Zitharax or some. Oh wait, no, they're in the book.
Yeah, all right. They're one.
They're in the book. So yeah, the
Is it Noro?
So yeah, it's Noro.
Yeah,
it's Noro.
It was the contact for the Lexol mission.
Yeah.
So yeah, Noro is definitely there, like leads you in, and you have to understand this thing is like pitch black, and it's made out of like some of that like radar absorbing type material, which means that like it doesn't shine properly. So like a lot of times you're walking through hallways and it feels like you're in these like weird hexagonal, almost beehive-ish sort of like structures. And like as you walk through, there are like sections that there's like weird. They look a lot like the fungus that grows on the hull of your ship, but when it grows tendrils and turns kind of organic and is slowly devouring the station. But they don't seem to notice. Every once in a while, there's this disconcerting sense that the whole thing is breathing, and Horix actually like just keeps her eyes down, and like they don't even seem to notice her really. Like that they talk to the rest of you as if you're like present, but she seems to just like blend in with the background as like your group is moving. And you'll get taken to like Lexal, right? And like Lexal is standing on what their equivalent of a bridge is.
This is like their headquarters then. This is
Yeah,
like where they
yeah, it's
hang out.
actually their HQ. They have they have a 12 clock to do terrible things to the universe. No, but
Great.
yeah, this is their headquarters. This is absolutely their headquarters. Yeah, a platform orbiting planet Omega HQ. It's in the book. So
Nice.
so yeah, Lexal is standing there on the bridge, and he looks at all of you and says, I expected many things, but not to meet you here.
You and me both. There's something on this planet we need. Your assistance getting on and off it safely is greatly appreciated.
It's unusual. I'm not used to people actually ever wanting to go to the planet aside from us.
That's still the case, but we're doing it anyway.
Are you sure I cannot convince you to perhaps add some limbs?
Yes, I am sure of that. I'm like, how do you answer that question to make sure that it's very clear? Like, you wouldn't mind? Wait, yes, I would mind. Yeah.
Very well. I will.
And there's a weird way in which Whisper is definitely speaking for the group, but if anyone feels like he's sort of like overriding people's autonomy, please say something. But like, there's this moment where Whisper does like step forward a little bit, and he feels that with Lexal in particular, he needs to like be very decisive and be very clear and not have any kind of dithering. So
I think Ula is just sort of like ogling all of these people, quote unquote, right? Because Ula didn't go on that mission. She never met Lexal.
Right.
So yeah, this is like she's kind of relying on Whisper's instincts. So she kind of keeps looking between Lexal and Whisper and like the weird maybe mold. And yeah, she's very confused, but she's totally following Whisper's lead.
Yeah, I think Lexal turns to look outside of the viewport or whatever at the planet. And you can tell that the planet looks like weird, but not like too weird. Like it looks like a planet, right? Like,
yeah. But most planets do from orbit, right?
Yeah, right. But like Lexal seems to like almost be proud of it. Like, it says like, it's beautiful.
My baby.
No. Lexal says like, the whole thing down there is alive, and the whole thing down there is dangerous. Much like a Kedia, it seeks to devour anything that hits its surface. I cannot guarantee your safety. I hope you understand that.
If you told me you could, I'd think you were lying.
I don't suppose you'll tell me why you're going down there.
Nope.
So he gestures, and like they bring out like this set of like boxes, and like when they open them, there are these like weird suits inside them. And yeah, he's got like the masks that are gonna, like, he gives you the speech, like, if you breathe, they will smell it. Yeah. Your heartbeat will be heard. Your steps will be noted. Even with all of the precautions placed, you may have to fight for your life. This is normal. The planet tests you, as it should test everyone. That is why we take from it, and we make ourselves better.
There's like a tiny twitch in Whisper's cheek when he says better.
So he definitely believes the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I think you definitely get that whole like only through trials do we grow kind of nonsense. Like pain is the greatest teacher.
Let's start human testing immediately. Yeah. Yeah.
He says, so we are not going to land a vehicle to deposit you. We're gonna do a drop from a very low flyby. Pickup is going to be tricky. You will have a window measured in seconds to get back aboard before we take off. As much as I think the planet definitely needs to breathe, I do not take it lightly, and I understand the threats that it poses. And I hope that you will do likewise.
Last encounter with Lexal, he was just like dudes with guns, mystics, and hegemon, ice triple max. None of this stuff matters. I can rip the ship apart with my powers. And like this, now he's like clearly much more respectful and much more like serene about this thing. So
the word that I'm trying, maybe I'm trying to communicate a thing, but I don't know if I might just be failing. So I'm just gonna come out and say it. Like the thing that I am trying to indicate is that what he has is almost a sense of worship towards it.
Yeah.
It's not even awe. It's almost like he's willing to face this planet because he has this like weird friggin' mystic theory about growth and how like the universe is a source of conflict. But like at the same time, he's like, he is in awe of that planet in a way, right? Like he definitely like not in the like you like necessarily like the like oh you're better than me, because I think Lexal will never admit that to like anyone, including the hegemon themselves. But like he definitely is like, yeah, the planet is something that I worship. It is something that is further along the path of evolution than I am, and you know that's rad.
And he aspires to it.
Yeah. Actually, someday Lexal wants to be a planet.
Lexal's
like we all do.
ultimate goal is you know
become a planet.
Yeah, great, awesome.
If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
They actually have an incandescent member who is probably going to be your guide.
Amazing.
So yes, their incandescent member is named Aretha, mystic, many-limbed, glowing, powerful. So, anyway, yeah.
Should we make an engagement roll?
Yeah, this is the engagement roll time. I will give you plus 1d for prep. Shall we go through the engagement rolls, the Sean?
Yeah. Let's do it. You have it up? Or do you want me to pull it up?
I never have it up.
I remember most of it. Well, we start with 1d.
Yes.
Is the operation bold or daring? I don't think it gets more. Is it overly complicated? I don't.
What kind of plan are we running? Is this an?
Oh yeah. What is the plan? That's true.
Mystic plan.
What?
Nothing. I was gonna say it's a mystic plan.
Is there such a plan?
Yeah. There's
a
mystic
power. Yeah,
there's a
totally.
mystic plan,
Yeah.
and it's the arcane power. Yeah, I mean, I think we could call it a trans. Yeah, no, it's mystic plan, and the detail is that we're going after this tree, and I think
the power that you're using is Horrocks is going to use what she needs to.
Yeah.
By the way, there is no suit for her. Like it's almost like they can't even see her.
Okay, I assume that she's doing that intentionally, and I'm gonna look at her at some point and like point to the suit, like, should we get you another one? You know?
Yeah. She just gives you like a look like you forget that I've already been on this planet. Like kind of.
Okay.
She's like, I'm focusing. These people are exceedingly dangerous. So yeah.
Like I have nothing to do with this.
Yeah. Don't look at me. Don't ignore me. Sorry.
Has anyone lost a baby?
Cool. So I don't think it's overly complicated unless there's details that we're missing. We're gonna go to the planet and get the thing.
Yep.
We're gonna follow Horrocks there. Are any of our friends helping us? Yes. That's the plus 1d right there. So we're at 3. Are any of our enemies working against us?
No.
Are there other factors that we have not?
Yes, the planet is higher tier than you. There's no question about that.
Okay, so we're down to 2. I think that's it. Oh, is it particularly well defended against this, or are we exploiting a vulnerability of it?
You are actually explaining a vulnerability of it.
Okay. Yeah.
You are like, it's got incredibly strong defenses, but you have like the one group of people that actually know how to
Right.
how to survive on this planet,
Cool. That takes us 3 dice.
which is pretty good for this kind of
Pretty
encounter.
good for going to planet Ono Omega.
Yeah, oh no, Omega.
All right, who wants to roll this this fortune roll? Remember, there's no bad engagement rolls.
I'll do it.
Go for it.
Boop. 3 dice. Not 2, but 3.
Oh yeah.
Click submit.
We got a gambit. We got 2. No, we only have 1 gambit.
There
Yeah,
we go.
'cause-
Oh,
holy
crit.
cow, it's a crit.
Oh,
What's
wow.
up?
Nice.
What's happening?
Well, I was gonna have you chased by horrible monstrosities first, but I guess we're gonna skip two fun bits.
Like
Um,
butter.
Yeah, I think that there is like, so this is the point where I ask everybody to select their load. And I think that you go into a shuttle, right? And then there is a person there, and they have their hood down, but there is a glow coming from underneath their clothes, right? And what they say is that they say it is dangerous to be slow on the planet. It is also dangerous to be under-equipped. I
Real
will be in the
reassuring.
Yeah, and then they just say, I will be in the cockpit, and fold themselves up. And it's actually kind of interesting because like you see a hand come out to like hold a joystick, and like another hand come out, and then occasionally that hand goes back in, but like a hand comes out over here to like pull a thing. And it's you're pretty
So-
sure there's way more than 2 hands there.
There's just always enough hands. So we have fancy heavy armor from
From me.
Scion, so that's worth noting. Armor may not work against everything here, but if it doesn't take us much to have that. So
Yeah, I feel like most of my equipment isn't particularly well suited to handling freaky way creatures. So I think I'm going to go with normal, given that like being slow is a risk and being under equipped is a risk.
I think of things that might be needed. I think I'm gonna do the same. Normal.
Yeah, I'm also on normal.
Dipper, I'm curious.
Yeah, which frame are you taking, Dipper? That's important.
I was gonna say like a panic about that because I was like, well, the normal frame has maneuverability because it's sort of like based on an eagle, but then the heavy frame is definitely built for taking care of people. I
The
know
light frame has a combination of stealth and interfacing, which is also interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Do you think that'd be handy on this particular mission?
How many Earth sites have you been to?
Oh, probably none that I remember.
Well, at least one, because we went to that temple where we got the
Oh,
guide
yeah.
in episode 0.
Yeah, totally.
But there are certainly precursor things that you should be able to interface with, and you do know that there are horrific hordes of creatures on this planet, so being invisible might be helpful. I do not know. I think there is a case to be made for both heavy and light frames here. It
Like-
depends on what. Let me tell you the same thing that I told Jen. It depends on what sort of story you want to tell. If you want to be able to talk to things here, then the light frame is potentially your only way. If you want to be able to fight things here and have cool action scenes where you grapple arm across places, then the heavy frame is your only option here. So
And it must sound so tempting, but I my jam is talking to things and stuff. So like I can't say no to talking to precursor objects. It's too tempting.
all right.
So I guess I'll go light frame.
So yeah, I think
You
I
know,
think there's go ahead.
I'll actually upgrade to heavy. Just because like there was that scene where it was like, hey, you're gonna have to step up and protect everybody. I think I step out with like my normal kit of gear under my robes, and then I see Dipper in their light frame, and then I just like turn around come back out, and I'm just like bristling with weaponry.
Get some extra stuff.
So I actually forgot to mention this, but I think Horrocks has like, it's very simple. It's just like a little metal thing with like a tube that like comes around, and she has it in her mouth, but she uses it as like a rebreather. It's pretty straightforward, but it's like the only like weird piece of tech that she has. But she has it on when you go to the station where all of the Agni are, and she seems to be using it to hide her breath while she's there. It doesn't seem to be the thing that's causing them to not see her, because she's like physically present, but like, yeah. So yeah, I think while you're on the ship headed down to the surface, I think she looks up at everyone, and what she says is, I can only get you so far. There will come a point where I will not be able to guide you any further. This is ultimately why I did not retrieve the third artifact the last time I was here. But you will hopefully find what you need. Right. So I think that there's like a cool scene. So you rolled a crit on your engagement roll, which means that your first set of obstacles are just going to get skipped, right? So like, I was going to have you land on a planet, and then we're going to make some rolls to like avoid the hives of monstrosities. But I think that there are these like giant ruins. And I think that like the like, once you land on the planet, the your guide like throws off their cloak, and you actually see like the many limbs, and like it scuttles forward on like all 8, and it's just like, it looks like some sort of dog, like, right, like where it like snakes along and then like pauses and like uses their senses to sort of like see where the problems are going to lie. So there's like a lot of like scenes where you folks are like just moving, and there's nothing but the sound of like black dirt crunching underneath like your boots, and you see these like strange holes, almost like honeycombs, and every once in a while you'll see like something run out of one and back into another. But yeah, there's a it's actually really interesting, because like as you're coming in for the drop, you see like craters and like huge blast radiuses, and then fresh new holes popping out into the sides of these craters. So essentially they like bombarded this place from orbit, and it just didn't matter. So
Just grew right back.
yeah, it just grew right back. So
it also sounds like there's sort of an aesthetic similarity of the honeycomb design between the space station and the planet. Like
oh,
that
absolutely.
They modeled the station after the planet.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that the holes here actually look like holes, like they're circular-ish, but like the space station is definitely like, you get the sense, yeah, that they're learning or adapting from it, or mimicking it. Yeah, right. So you reach like an area, and there is a bunch of buildings that are like half covered in this black sand, and to most people like it would just look like ruins, but like when you look at it, you realize that there is like some precursor effects. And it's interesting because this is still a section of this temple that people have actually been to, right? And the there are signs that folks have been through here. Like if you look at it, it doesn't seem to be like much. It's just like rubble, but like, you know, every once in a while you kind of turn a corner, you can almost see how the buildings line up, so you can like kind of imagine where like the missing bits are and how it may have functioned once upon a time, kind of thing. But like as you enter it, it's obviously built for things that are much larger than you, right? Like most of the ceilings are clearing like 20-30 feet. And it's definitely got like a strange vibe to it. Every once in a while you see actually broken urbots with glass instead of a face. I say glass, but it's not actually glass. It's some like weird black, almost obsidian like material. And yeah, so like I think you bypass like the weird bugs that you had to creep by, and you definitely get to a certain get to a certain point, and that there is like there's like weird sigils, right? Like it's writing. One of the things about writing is that it's indecipherable because in order to have a written language, you have to have like repetition between characters, because like that's how you learn the patterns and decipher it. And writing to date, nobody's like, there are certain shapes, like, okay, so when you're in this part of the galaxy, there are like more circles used, and they seem to use like 5 circles as part of their designs, but there hasn't really been a repetition of symbols. Like it's just bizarre, right? Like they just have millions of like different characters.
Sure,
And
there
so
are
like, yeah,
like
there's a
researchers that are making it their life project to try and figure out the language.
Oh yeah. There are universities and all sorts of theories that currently there's a lot of arguments. The leading source of theory is the fact that they actually do like Norse bind runes, where it's like a bunch of letters combined, and people have been trying to figure out if there's like subcomponents, like if a circle might be a letter, and then it's somehow, yeah, it's all over the place. They have all sorts of people with all sorts of theories, but to date, no one can read or writing. It's just not a thing.
I'll have seen Arrival, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But the aliens in Arrival wanted people to interpret their language.
Yes, and they were there, present, available for interaction. Yeah.
Yeah. This is very different. This is trying to decipher the writing of a group of people that disappeared long before time, right? And so yeah, it's there's this door, right? And it's there's nothing in front of it, but there is like a stone plate. And I think your glowing guide sort of like scampers onto the plate and turns around 3 times, almost like a dog, and then like slowly places like one limb on these like weird protrusions, and you realize that there's exactly 8 of them, and each of these limbs like lands on one. And then they're
In other
glow
words, it's
like
really good that they're here and that we're not trying to do this.
right, and then they're like glow slowly like fades down, and they almost turn this like gray color, but then like there's like a shimmer in the air, and the doorway, which seems to have led to a hallway, now seems to lead to a completely different place. And they don't say anything because they're like focused on keeping the door open, right? But like it's pretty clear that it's like, yep, this is your way, Godspeed. So what do you folks want to do?
I think Scion marches forwards ahead of the group, just like leading into the hallway.
Yeah.
I think I get to like the threshold, and then I want to reach out with a tune and understand
yeah.
like whether there's immediate threat nearby, like if there's killing intent inside of there, and or if there's like other information that my way sense can gather of this space we're about to enter.
Cool.
Like if
yeah,
there might be
totally roll.
mind-bending tricks or things like that. So let's see. I think I'm just going to roll a straight attune. What's the position effect?
Well, you're not. You rolled a crit on your engagement roll, so I'm going to say it's control.
Okay.
I think that you're not in danger yet, but precursor temples are notoriously risky.
Sure. Controlled standard?
Yeah, controlled standard.
All like,
right.
Assist die or no, never mind.
There you go. 4. So on a controlled action, one of 2 things happens. You can do it with a minor side effect, or you have to go to a risky position. And I think I think we're just gonna like roll this forward in the fiction, if that's okay. It's like not like the first like 5 feet of the hallway you get no read effectively, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like this is like a movie sequence, like where we're looking at Moria, right? Like it's a group of people. You have some glow sticks and stuff, and as you're walking through this area, there's this like one room that you enter, and it's got huge pillars, like they go up so high that they're outside of the range of your glow sticks. But as you step inside, there's this like tone, and then like as you keep stepping, like more tones play, and then like sections of crystal start like glowing, and it's crystal that's very reminiscent of Voss, which is another planet in the system. And yeah, this weird kind of twilight effect starts happening, where like the crystals start actually like glowing as you enter, and you realize that your path is blocked by these 2 massively giant stone statues, right? Like
Yeah.
they would be humanoid except for the fact that they have a little too many limbs. Each one of them is holding like a massive weapon of some sort, like a sword, which is very old school. And yeah, there's like the path literally leads before them, right? And as you approach them, you get a strong sense of both way presence and danger. But so like what I'm asking you is, if you want to learn more, you have to put yourself in a risky position. But
Yeah, I'm happy to put myself in a risky position.
oh
and,
good,
It's
yeah,
not gonna this time.
yeah, are we in a fictionally different enough position that I can make
absolutely,
benefit of
absolutely.
the assist?
Usually
I'll
you
take it.
just roll the thing forward, but if you like pause or think about it or like provide some sort of indication,
Yeah, I'll take and it's risky standard with a +1 die.
mhm.
What is,
In which case, what does the assist look like?
yeah.
Yeah, so I think like Dippa appears sort of next to Scion and puts like a hand on Scion's shoulder. And I think like we get a glimpse of like that moment when Dipper and Scion were together in space facing down void creatures and like Dipper couldn't protect Scion.
Yeah.
And so and you can kind of feel like, I think when that glimpse appears in Dipper's mind, you feel like the fingers on your shoulder tense a little bit more. I think Dipper's just trying to like lend that sort of basic lesson in killing intent to like help like branch out your scope.
I wonder, do I maybe also feel a little bit of push of the way emanating through Dipper's hand?
Yeah, totally. If that's the thing.
Maybe I do. Maybe it's just in my mind. But either way, I make use of it.
I dig it.
Excellent.
Got a 6.
Nice.
Hey, so you get follow-up questions. What would you like to ask?
Crap. Questions.
Yeah, they're a thing.
Let's see. Is this like the gather information questions?
Yeah. You can just ask stuff like, tell me things you want to know, and I will work with you.
So my instinct here, based on what you've described and my knowledge of fiction, is very never-ending story.
Mhm.
These guardians are dangerous somehow, and there is some trick to passing them. And so the two questions that immediately spring to mind is, what's the general form of the danger they present, and 2, is there an obvious way to pass them, or do we need to do something to garner more information so that we may pass them in a safer manner?
So I think that they're basically just like a primitive security system. It's essentially like
Very primitive.
Yeah, if you don't have like the right ID chip, they're just like, hey, you can't pass. They don't ask you riddles, they just murder you. So form of danger is they're actually giant urbots. They're like 50 feet tall, giant friggin' urbots.
Nice.
And they will activate if you get too close. So you notice that like your mentor is 6 feet in front of you, and they don't seem to notice her either. But like, if you can't do her trick, you're gonna have to figure out a different way. It could be, what you do realize is that their like radius of effect is limited. Once you're far enough past them or far enough before them, they're just gonna return back to their like static selves. There are giant pillars around the room. There's also like the two of them. They are facing each other with weapons. Like, you could attempt to try and like trick them, or you could attempt to like try and damage them in a fashion where they like hurt each other, like, control which one activates first or another. Like, there's no clear answer here. It's not like push button here, puzzle is solved. It's like,
there's not
how
a
would
clean
you
thing.
you have a bunch of smart people with you. This is a
the-
puzzle. Proceed to solve.
The chimes that you mentioned seem like they might be involved. Do we get the sense that we step here, it sort of makes one tone, we step here and it makes another, and that there is a rhyme or reason to it?
It seems to be no, not really. Like, you're actually probably right here, Sean. But the problem is that precursor logic is not freely available to you, and there is nothing to help you hint through it. So the precursors probably had a tune that they knew, but like, you do not know the equivalent of 5,000-year-old Old McDonald or
You-
whatever.
you-
Like
you-
it's.
Are you saying I couldn't attune to their?
I mean, you can attune to the way, but like
No,
the way
no,
doesn't
I'm just-
possess like sheet notes.
I'm making a pun about having a tune.
Tune. Yes, that is excellent. I approve of
It's just a bad
puns.
pun.
they play in precursor Lydian mode.
You know what my old boss used to say to me, right? A bad
What?
pun will get you fired. A terrible pun will get you promoted.
Nice. Yeah, I think like I'm standing there reaching out with the way, and then I open my eyes and I turn to Dipper and I say, they're Urbots. And then I mutter under my breath, Samara's trick sure would be useful here.
I think like Dippa lowers their head for a moment and then looks back at Scion and says, would it be advisable if I speak with them?
Scion sort of raises his hands and shrugs and says, I think if any of us have any opportunity to speak to 5,000-year-old Urbots, you're the only one who has any kind of access.
I think Dipper also sort of looks to Ula and then sort of Grumpy Space Dad for their assent as well before stepping forward to do so.
Yeah, I've got a fine hacking rig. I mean, I've got some tech, right? If that would be helpful. I don't know that it would be, but Ula is a kid in a candy shop right now because this is like Urtech is her secret obsession. So yeah, you just say the word and she will help you.
You know what? Yeah. And Whisper really wants to figure out how to help you with it, but it's so like out of his realm. He's like, I mean, you have to find some kind of common ground, and how do you even do that with something that's 5,000, that's from eons old? Your nature, and Whisper's kind of going through like, how do you establish rapport with something? He'd very much like to support you, but I don't think he can do any kind of direct interaction.
Out of his element. Do I know, Strash, the specific activation condition of these Urbots?
Yeah.
It's
Physical
proximity.
approach. Yeah, it's proximity.
I relay that to the group, and I turn to Dipper. Don't you have some sort of kapwing? Don't you? You can kapwing things.
I can try and kapwing things.
Awesome.
Technical term.
I think and Dippa turns to Ula and is like, well, should we make some friends?
I would love to.
Great, let's go kapwing some friends.
So let's talk about what this looks like. So if you get close to them, they will activate. And they will activate aggressively. How are you planning to talk to them? Are you planning to like turn invisible and then make a connection and run a cable back so that Ula can piggyback off of your connection, or like what does this look like?
I'm actually wondering if it would be better for like Ula to stay back and send Kuzco with Dipper.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Kuzco is also an bot, or part of one anyway. Not maybe as sentient as Dipper, but
That's fine.
because
Cusco can also like carry a cable connection for you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like bounce.
My theory is that we might be safer if just only Urbots cross that line to start with.
Life.
Yeah. That's a guess though.
All right, cool. So I think that there's probably like a moment where if you folks just try walking forward, right? Like there's probably like a moment where like dust starts like falling off the joints and you like see both of them start moving and Cusco's like bounce. And like they just like go back to their like resting state if you stop like crossing the threshold. So after a while you can kind of figure out where the threshold is. Like if you try to push it like even if you're like hands up, like just approaching like, hey, I just want to talk, like I'm friendly, they're just like Like they seem to be very single-minded / focused.
We have all this equipment that we've brought. I imagine we might have something like a telescoping rod that we could
Absolutely.
shot fiber
10-foot
optics
pole.
with. Do they seem to interact with that? Like if we stand outside the edge, but then we like try to feed in a cable or a connection or something like that, does anything that crosses it trigger them, or is it?
No, it's anything. They recognize robots as people, but like
Yeah. Okay.
it's people.
Jen, I
You
feel
do
like-
notice that there are large like rents and damage, and you realize that there are some bones of like the creatures from outside from the hive that tried to come through here. And either they found a different path or they stopped trying, but like these things murdered them too. So
Yeah. Jen, it seems like Ula could probably rig up some kind of telescoping long distance. What's the distance between like, I don't know, wherever we think we can interface with them and the edge? How far is
it's 20-30 feet. I mean, it's
Yeah.
totally within the realm of possibility.
Yeah. I bet you could do that as like a setup action for Dipper trying to talk to them.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Go ahead. Roll some rig.
Oh, some rig.
I assume it's rig.
Yeah. This is not. I have spare parts and I have repair tools with me, but I assume that the fine hacking rig is about interfacing with the system, not
Yeah.
making a pole. Okay.
Correct.
Until he toss an
risk
assist too.
standard? Am I doing a roll, or I thought maybe Sean was suggesting I assist?
Oh,
with-
that's fine. You can do both.
Okay.
It's your decision.
Yeah. I just
you
think that the setup action is going to be needed to like make the connection before talking.
Yeah, I would rather do the setup.
So what you folks may not be clear on is the fact that Lauren actually has an interface built into Dipper's body.
Yeah, but it's sort of turning invisible, which certainly might work. It seems like what I'm thinking is that Ula could rig up some way to extend that so that Dipper can just plug into it and not have to cross that threshold. That's at least what I had in my head.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's not happening because you have to interface with an Urbot core, and
Okay.
Yeah, I
their
was gonna
core
say-
is like 20-30 feet off the ground. And even if
Okay.
you have it, you'd have to like remove plating and then attach something. Now Dipper has a cheat. Dipper actually extends the fiber optic looking tendrils directly from their core into systems, and that's how they interface.
Got it.
So it's a little bit different because they use a very different technology basis. So like they can get close to them and then try to interface with their tendrils, because the way that Urbots work is you place their core in an object and then they extend these like weird fiber optic looking cables, and then eventually they like grow inside the object and then they start moving it, right? So that's why Urbots can look all sorts of different but have one core. Like if you put them in a car, eventually they start controlling the car, right? Like that's just how Urbots work.
Got it. So we can't extend that essentially. There's no
Really. They don't have USB ports per se. They're not designed to interface with things outside of their body. It's just that Dipper has a cheat.
Nice.
So
Okay. Then I don't know.
there is a sneak action, I think, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, there's Skulk.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say if Dipper can turn invisible, then we should just try that, because it seems like anything stepping over that line is
Gets
gonna
munched.
activate them. So
Cool. So Lauren, do you wanna burn some stress?
I'm ready.
All right, awesome. How much stress you burning?
Well, to activate the cloaking stuff for a few seconds, it's 2 stress.
Yeah, that's right. And you turn plain invisible.
Yeah. I think I'll try turning plain invisible. I know I have 0 to 2 stress for various jump actions, so I kind of feel like turning invisible plus maybe like adding on a little bit of acrobatic flair to like jump up there.
Yeah, that's not gonna cost anything. It's fine.
Nice.
And it is, I think the interface of machines is also 1 stress. So I think it's like
So it's
if I
3
can-
stress total.
Yeah, if I can roll all of that into
Yep.
jumping up there, turning super cool invisible, and then
Sadly, I think it's 3 stress. So
Yep.
I'm ready to pay it.
Nice.
cool.
You have
Then
all the
you
right
have a
tools,
connect.
really
You turn invisible. You hop forward. There's probably like a tense moment where you like hop onto a limb and like the thing activates a little bit, and everyone like freezes. You're ready to leave, but like it looks at its leg and it's like really confused, and the other one looks at it, and you get the sense that they're almost like, am I supposed to hit it? Like, I don't know. It's maybe it's a bug. I don't see a bug. Okay. So like, they don't actually have that conversation, but that's like what their body language is communicating.
After 5,000 years, maybe you just got an itch.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
like
So-
Dipper like freezes when that happens, and then when the moment's over, like sort of gently, carefully, tentatively like extends their hand to like interface with the spidery, tenderly like core
Cool.
bits.
Yeah. So if you are, so like, this is the question that I ask is like, are you hauling a cable from I was about to say Samara, I actually mean Ula.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like sort of gently plugging that in. So
Cool.
Ula can
So like at the very
work with-
least you can like plug it into yourself and then run your tendrils, and then like, because Ula is so used to interfacing with your systems,
Mhm.
they can kind of catch and like assist, and the two of you can like work together, or
It's like
Ula
a-
can take the lead on hacking and you can assist or whatever.
Yeah, I like to think it's gonna be translating it as like
Cool.
a conduit for Ula to talk to
Neat.
it.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's weird, right? Because like their brain is not at all developed the same way as yours, right? Like the last time you reset was a couple of years ago, and you grew up around people, so you learned communication through things like words and thoughts that are based on having words, and these things never bothered. They have purpose, and they have drive, and they have the knowledge of destruction, and they are it is confused when you interface. Like it is just like, it's just like, my purpose will not waver. What are you? Like, I like, the makers are not here. I cannot be changed. What are you doing? Like it's
Oh,
yeah. It is slightly confused, but like its body is unmoving. It's because like the parameters haven't been breached. It is alien and difficult to interface with because it doesn't think in thought concepts the way that like you do. Because whenever Urbots reset, they relearn about the world, and they keep some of their quirks and weirdnesses from like, there's personality that always seems to resurface, but like they definitely like relearn how to interact with everything around them. And so this thing has never needed to, because it has stood here forever, and it is planning to stay here forever because it has a purpose, and it will fulfill that purpose to the best of its ability. So that's the situation the two of you are in. What would you folks like to do?
rad. Yeah, Ula, take it away.
Yeah. I think I might try and go at it one of two ways. One way potentially is cool, we're not the makers, but we're friends of the makers. And they sent us here, maybe.
We've got a maker pass.
Right. Otherwise, the tack might be, we know it's been a long time, and we're here to perform routine maintenance. One of those two things, maybe. Yeah,
Okay,
I
cool.
don't want to
Cool.
try
I
to like
love-
take their systems down. I don't want to like fight their programming. I want to like
So basically what
take a
you're
little
saying
step-
is like, hey, what does a maker pass that you're looking for look like?
yeah.
Because I might have one here in my kit, because I was sent here by the makers. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the plan. Cool. Yeah. Why don't you so I think this is currently, so you're trying to interface with the system and you're trying to talk to it. What skill are you trying to use? I'm gonna guess hack, but I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, I have
Sway
two
is also possible. Like, I don't know.
No, I'm terrible at sway. I have 2 dots in rig. I have 1 dot in hack, but I do have a fine hacking rig. So
Yeah,
maybe
that
that
improves your effect.
yeah. So that would be good. Otherwise, I mean, I can push myself, right?
Mhm.
Well, it might be like risky limited, right? Because this thing is
Mhm.
hostile and generally
Yeah.
not used to being interrogated. But I think a fine hacking rig will make it like, it can be risky standard or controlled limited, your choice.
Okay. Um,
Controlled
Yeah.
limited means that you can ask this question and guaranteed not get a bad result, because like, even if you roll poorly, you'll just end up in a risky position. Risky standard means that I will answer your question, but like, it's risky, right? Like there
Yeah,
might be consequences.
we might end up in hot water.
You might end up in hot water, yeah.
Cool. I think that I want to do well, I don't know. Because it's Ula and she's fascinated with Urtek. What do you guys think? Sean, Steven, thoughts?
I think it makes though it doesn't get us through it quite as fast. I think like the initial approach of like, hey, tell me about your systems. What are your parameters? Feels like a controlled angle. Like it doesn't seem to me like you said you're not trying to, override or whatnot. And I don't think that takes away from your fascination with them. If anything, I can imagine you being like, I want to start slow because I want to learn as much as I possibly can, rather than like I want to try this and then maybe I get kicked out of the system. Like how do
It also kind of sets up that risky situation. Like, okay, that soft approach didn't work. Let's go for the like, all right, I'm taking control of your arms now.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I like that.
So yeah,
I would
so
love to support you. I don't know how.
No, I think that's fine. I think as far as like assists, if Dipper wants to hand me assists, that would be helpful.
That makes
Yeah,
a lot of
totally.
sense.
It's dangerous though because Dipper functions on stress. It's true though.
It's up to you, Dipper. I'm cool either way. If you want to save that stress for later, I'm totally cool with it.
I'm good to. Oh, sorry.
Because I have a 1 in hack. I'll push myself, so I'll have 2 dice. It'll be controlled, so I think that's okay. If you don't want to spend the stress, I think that's okay. It's up to you.
Yeah. I'll spend the stress. I'll spend the stress. That makes sense. Yeah.
This way, if it rolls into risky, you'll still have the extra die.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I also think this makes sense that this is a stressful thing for Dipper.
Oh yeah,
that's fair.
This whole interchange is like, okay, you want me to say what? Because it's a little bit of a telephone game, right? You're translating through, and
yeah, and I think Dipper is trying to like sort of on the fly translate when they realize that like this thing hasn't reset before and it's very samey. It's like trying to then like reconstruct your language for it to make sense to that. Yeah, totally.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, so I have my hack, I have my die that I pushed for, and then I have my assist die.
Yep.
Nice.
I got all 3s.
Yep, you're just like
that feels very appropriate.
Do you feel like maybe you want to, and it's like alert? Yeah, like you're like, we're not the makers, but we're friends of the makers. And then it's like, then you may not pass. Like,
can I resist that a little bit? I would like to resist that, please.
Well, I was gonna say it'll place you into a. How would you resist it, and what would you think would be a resist effect? Because I think that all it's gonna do is it's gonna place you in a risky position where you're like, but we have a pass, making one now. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that I would resist it, right, is I would see what sort of areas of coding like light up, right, to do the alert, and that helps me find other the areas of rules that it's like testing, like were these conditions met? No, cool, alert, right? And it could help me find, but if you don't
no, let's just talk about that. So the thing is that on a miss you end up in a risky position, and so like if you do a resist, it's not that you don't end up in a risky position, it's that usually we mitigate the effect, and since you're not taking harm, I want to know what you sort of want the end effect to be, because the way resistances work is they do not cancel what happened. They just showcase why it's not as bad as we thought it was. Okay. So like it cannot be that it didn't
Gotcha.
that it didn't like light up, that it didn't like set you, that it didn't like get angry, or it didn't like, but it might be not as angry, or it might be like that you learned something. Like all of these are plausible things. It's just I'm looking for like what the effect of the resist is going to be.
Right.
Because like I don't want to make you just roll a resistance roll, because you can't roll a resistance roll to negate truth, but you also can't. I don't want to make you waste stress by rolling a resistance roll when we don't know what you're going to get for it.
Yeah.
I have an idea if we can toss this out here. Maybe instead of immediate alert state, it becomes a clock.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would love that.
And then
So
it's
Jen,
like,
I'll
I
make it a
almost
4
have this
o'clock
idea
and I'll
of
put
like,
2 ticks on it. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so, because that's what I was going to say is I don't necessarily want it to not alert, but like
that's
I
perfect.
want the resist to set us up to be like
So you would
a
still
little
be
bit
in
further in access.
Yeah, you'd be in control, but it would be partway to
Yeah.
now everything's risky.
I almost see this as like there's a barrier ice, and then Ula deploys Ares 2.0, which like just gums up the works of the ice with like extra commands, just slows down the communication.
Gives it extra processes to function
Yep.
to tangle with. I'd also throw out that there's another result for 1 to 3 uncontrolled, which is try another approach. Don't hack it. Try consorting, try sneaking, try whatever. I don't think that's what you want to do, but there is the alternative
can't do
of
those things.
1 to 3 on a
Dipper
controlled-
might be able to, although I don't think Dipper is really good at those things either.
Yeah,
They're
just saying that like we could also say, hacking's not going to work. Let's have Dipper try and talk or something like that. I like this. I'm excited about you. Give it another whirl.
Cool. So I'm rolling an insight resist.
Yeah.
Neat.
I can always threaten it because that's always super intimidating. Threatening.
Yeah.
I
Damn.
critically succeeded.
So you clear
costing
stress.
myself no stress at all.
Would you like to clear stress on Dipper?
Yeah, I would love
It's
to.
a very rare condition where the two of you are running the same system. I don't usually allow that. So yeah.
Nice. Dipper
So it's
could use
clearing
it.
a Dipper instead of myself?
Yep.
Cool.
Excellent. Thank you.
That feels appropriate here.
Yeah. I got this.
I got this. Hang on.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I have placed the clock on the sheet. Oh, actually, I don't know if you all.
I'm on the nebula sheet. So I'm displaying.
Cool. I'm just gonna cut and paste these. They're just gonna be totally cut.
Players. Let me move the players.
Such good clocks.
Boop. It's fine. I will make the clock appear here. Boop. There we go. Can you folks see the clocks?
Yeah.
There we go.
All right,
Yep.
sweet. So I'm just gonna give it 2 ticks here. Doop, doop.
I gotta move
And
it. So
there you go. So yeah, it's it's in there. All right. So everyone gets real tense, right? You see Horrocks reach for the stick, and then she lets go of the stick. And then yeah. So what's the plan here?
More hacking, I guess.
I think I'm not a maker was the wrong.
Yeah, that was probably the wrong tack.
Can I assist with the way?
Yeah. How do you do that? Tell me a little bit about
Yeah,
it.
I think like so we've got the shadowy illusory Dipper on the leg, running their cables into the Urbot, and then there's a cable back to where Ula has her like you've got like a console or something like that.
Yeah, it's
and
totally like in Cusco's back.
Yes, excellent. So I see like this console in the back of Cusco just like light up red, and like 5 pop-ups come up, and you start typing real fast, and I'm like, oh shit. So I just like put a hand on your shoulder and just like, and you just feel like calm and warmth flow into you and give you the space you need to like focus on this.
The universe is generous and giving.
And then it sunders your face.
Yeah.
The universe can also take.
Right now, we're on the giving side.
A good mystic can do both. These are all things from last episode, by the way. I'm quoting things that Horrocks has said. So like, it is one of the things that I want to stress while you roll dice. Well, actually, is there anything? Do you just like spend a stress for an assist? Oh no, wait.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All I was gonna say is it's important for your mystics to have a theory about the way and how it works, and then to try and bring it into a lot of their abilities. So if I randomly throw out quotes like that, it's because I'm reinforcing your mystic path.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I think fictionally, what I'm trying to like project here is like send like a push in the way through Ula into the hacking, through Dipper into the Urbots. That hey, we actually really are the people we are claiming to be.
Oh, cool. So you're gonna try the same trick that you studied on Victor Bax, where you remember how like you tested the way and you were just like, what they're giving is lies.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're gonna try to do that. Oh, that's amazing.
Okay,
All
we're
right.
just gonna put this and
Sweet.
put it
How's your
right back
sway?
out.
With lies. Yeah.
That's how I am fictionally assigning the assist that I'm doing.
All right. Okay. I mean, all right.
Just say you could just try that.
Yeah, you could try that, and then like Jen could assist you to be like, and we have you're sensing this through credentials and not bullshit way nonsense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, sure.
I'm into that. Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Then I'll roll it. So this
Jen,
is
do you want to assist with a
yes,
stress?
I do. Yes.
All right, cool.
Okay.
So then you get +1d.
cool. So that's risky standard +1d.
Yeah.
I think it's controlled, right? We
I
kept
think
it
it's controlled. It's controlled standard +1d.
Controlled
Might turn risky here in a second.
+1d. Book. I got a
Nice.
6.
Nice.
No, it's just done. I think you say a thing and like the red turns to yellow, and then Jen corrects you, and then you say a slightly different thing, and it turns to slightly less bright yellow, and then Jen corrects you, and then finally it turns green. And Horrocks looks very impressed.
Nice. Yeah, I just and like I look over to Ula and and then I look back over to her and I just go.
And I look at Whisper and say, "Okay, cool. Now you can help me with all these cables."
It's just
I'm
like a
gl-
rat's nest coming out
I'm
of
glad I can be of a help, and I'm like coiling up cable. Yeah.
So I think that there's like probably a moment where you reach this like great divide. It's like a gap. And it's got another one of those stone plates. And I think Horrocks says, until this moment, I was convinced that worst student would just get you killed, but now I think you all have a chance. And she stands on the stone and she says, unfortunately, I do not think that Scion is capable of this. And she just like stomps one foot down, and like you start seeing a shimmer in the air, like extending to the other side, right? And she says, I will keep your way open as long as you need it to be.
I turn to Dipper and I say, I can stomp.
I think Dipper nods. Like, sure.
But do you have an old stick? So is there a path to keep going forward? Because last time it was like we got to one of these stone tabs and like our guide had to sort of open it up. Did we see a path?
Not exactly. This is one of those like bridges of faith. Like you have to walk over a giant chasm and just expecting it to work.
Ula is very excited about this.
Whisper is extremely
I think the first person on the
reluctant.
bridge is probably Cusco though. Like, you know, it's like
Yeah, fair.
tapping, and then it just like stands on nothing. Like, I don't know, it seems fine. Like, why do you all seem worried? I am a llama. I have no fear. Cool. So I think that there is a shot of this group with a couple of glow sticks walking away from the one person that seems to be able to hide you all from like the wrath of this place, and you are standing above an infinitely deep pit. And you walk towards the doorway to the next room, and I think that's where we have to cut our episode. I'm sorry, we're out of time.
Yeah.
So we'll pick it up with the next room, which I believe has a very interesting garden that grows and ungrows, and we'll see how you folks deal with that. So
It's a weed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Growing and growing.
Let's do XP. I'm gonna point at Ula because you were the last to talk. That's my new rule.
Yeah.
Let's do some XPs.
Cool.
Okay. I addressed a tough challenge with technical skill or ingenuity.
Yeah, you did.
Yes, I did that thing. You express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
There was an awful lot of extreme willingness to engage with Urtek.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Not even extreme willingness, like eagerness.
Yeah, enthusiasm.
You struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session. I didn't struggle with it, so I don't think I got it.
All right. So that's like what, 4?
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds good. Dipper,
Alright.
do you want to go next?
Heck yeah. So I don't know if I addressed a tough challenge with force or threats. There was a punch in there, but I don't know if that counts since it was sort of color.
I don't think it was a challenge.
No, yeah. So, but that's okay because I think I expressed some beliefs, drives, heritage, or background, and
Yeah, I
trying
think
to.
I think a little bit about your assassin previous.
We're actually about to talk about your trauma. Does Dipper have a trauma?
Yeah, Dipper is reckless. And I tried to pepper it in there, like fishing potentially void eel eggs out of fish tanks and jumping at this massive 5,000 plus year old robot to talk to it. And kind of having a lack of regard. I'm trying to play like lack of regard for like self and just throwing oneself at challenges.
Cool.
So that sounds like it might be
Yeah.
3 XP, 2 for the belief drives, and 1 for grappling with recklessness.
I mean, if you're saying grappling with recklessness, like I think the void eel egg and also jumping on these statues both sound like it to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would
I'm
also
hearing a
say
vote for 2. How does the
I
group
would
feel?
also say I think 2, but I would also point out that I think you struggle with your vice too.
Yes.
You had that whole scene with Scion
Oh,
where
yeah.
you're like, hey, because your vice is pleasure, and like last time Scion was like, let's go party, and you said nope, and you had that whole scene of like, hey, I want you to know that was personal, and like it was important to Dipper for Scion to know that they weren't angry with him. So yeah, I think
all right. Yeah, I'll totally take it then. That's me.
nice. All
Thank
right.
you.
Scion, you're next. I'm
Cool.
leaving Sean for last because he's secretly bringing up all your sheets so that
Yeah,
everyone
thank
can
you.
see all your XP triggers.
I feel like I addressed a couple of challenges with wisdom or the way.
You're actually mysticking up here. I'm
Yeah.
shocked because Scion's usually just like the way that you mystic is you drink booze.
Yep, it's true.
Drink booze and try and forget your past.
Scion has not been a traditional mystic for a while.
But you're
express your
picking it
belief-
up. You're picking it up.
Yep. Express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
Oh,
Like-
I so badly wanted you to use Sunder in the middle of Rin's system because I had a
Yep.
cool thing planned, but you're just like, nope. I was
Nope.
like, awesome. That's fine.
I mean, I think there's definitely some with like my interactions with Horrocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there more?
I just think that there was a lot of interactions with Horrocks, right? Like, and I don't just talk about the training. It's also, in a way, she's talked a lot about your self-neglect, right? Like, and not just in the sense of like boozing it up, as so much as like one of the things that I was trying to communicate, and I don't know if this came across because I felt like you were reacting to it, but I want to like actually like bright line it for everyone that's watching, which is that Scion talks a lot about how your power set was based on your past where you were told that you had a future. And it feels like some of your self-destructive tendencies are a way to fight against a potential future like that.
Absolutely.
And so like what Horrocks was saying is like, but remember the universe doesn't care. And also it is generous in giving. And then you're just like, no. And she's like, well, cool. But it is also taking and you're an asshole. So.
I mean, I think like Scion has been avoiding leaning into his mystic tendencies because of the way his past pushed his mystic tendencies. And now he's finding a different way forward. So yeah, absolutely. I don't think I struggled with my vice or traumas during the session. Not in a meaningful or significant way.
All right.
That's it for me.
Okay.
Sean, last but not least.
Yeah. Did you address tough challenges, deception or influence? I would say working. It was a fortune roll, so it's not like it could have gone bad. But I think working with the agony is always tense, and walking in there on the cred of our previous relationship alone, and talking to Lexal both on the comlink, but more importantly in person, was addressing a tough challenge with influence.
So can I tell you a thing, Sean?
Yeah.
I'm keeping track of your faction status.
Yeah.
And currently you are 1 faction status with the Acne, which means that according to the rules, they will help you when it is convenient for them. And they just like generally are okay with you. They don't hate you. They like you. So like with a +3 faction status, they will go out of their way and
Sure,
like
sure.
burn resources to try and help you, right?
Yeah.
But I was trying to act that out, but I'm glad that it still came across as tense.
Yeah, because I think even with the agony, even if the agony was a +3 with us, I think I would still be uncomfortable accepting their aid. I think
You should be.
so I'm calling that a tough challenge. And so I'm taking one there. I addressed my beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I think I was specifically thinking about how I, as an instructor, react to instruction, and that was an important part. And then Jen blessed me with the question of like, what do you believe in, and are you okay with killing people when you need to? And I really got to talk about my regrets about that, which was, thank you, Jen, for that gift of asking.
You're very welcome.
That was really cool. So I'm going to take 2 for that. And then, did I struggle with my vice or traumas? I did. I struggled with my trauma, which is paranoia about the way. I shot a person. And now I knew Sean was pretty sure this wasn't going to work. And even Whisper had some belief that like Horax wouldn't be asking me to shoot her if she didn't have a plan. But it was still pretty extreme. And it was because he didn't trust in it. So
I thought your beliefs were pretty extreme, so I figured an extreme demonstration was in place.
yeah. So and did I struggle with my vice of obligation? No, I don't think that came up at all. So I'm gonna take 4. And I think if it's cool, I'm gonna put 2 in resolve and take it on to tune.
It is cool.
Cool. Yeah.
It
Very
is
nice.
actually cool.
Seems
Yeah.
appropriate.
All right.
All right, let's do ship real
Okay.
quick.
Persephone. Okay. Got her up. All right. Oh, weird. It lost
Yeah, the
the
playbook XP
or
one
clip
went
of
away.
thing. I wonder if that's a weird Roll20 thing.
It's fine. You
Oh,
can just
Speed update or
because it's
something.
in character mode. There we go. Nah, I clicked the
Oh.
modes. Okay. Execute a successful extraction operation or capture a bounty.
No.
I don't think we've done either of those yet.
Mm-mm.
Oh, we had a full track from last time. Our track is full right now, and I don't think we took anything.
Then you should put a
So,
note to pick a power before next
Yeah,
time or
yeah.
upgrades. I'll put in Roll20.
Okay. Do we continue with challenges above our current station?
We've been
Yeah.
told that this planet is.
Yeah.
It's free. Basically, you folks are like, we're crew tier 0. I was like, well, that sucks because everyone's always better than you and everything's always hard.
Yes,
But also
I'm
you
gonna
get free
call that
XP.
2
Good job.
because I feel like everything we did was punching up.
Yep.
Bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. I don't feel that. I mean, Lexall might have thoughts about us because he's surprised.
Yeah,
that
I
we
was going to
showed
say
up.
that Agony might have thoughts about our reputation now.
So here's the thing. You have the reputation of being hard and unpredictable. And those are terms that I would certainly put on people that are willing to go to Omega and survive, and
Yeah.
also do it for like people that go to Omega are very unpredictable. That's not a thing that anybody who is remotely considered normal in the hegemony would do.
Cool.
So
I still think we should just take 1 for it because I think it was only those things really only apply to the agony. Like no one else
That's
knows
fair.
we're out here. Does that sound right to everyone? Cool. And express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the grove.
Oh yeah.
I
I mean, we got the inner conflict between Ula and everyone who messed up our ship.
Absolutely.
We saw some.
Sorry.
We saw some very cool stuff with Whisper and like his frustration with mystics and dealing with all this mystic bullshit.
Yep. We got to see Dipper and Scion connecting, and
I think they finally became friends. Yeah.
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 Anyways, I think science my part.
Yes. So I'm gonna take 2 there. There was lots of that. Cool.
All right. Cool. I think that's it. I think
Yeah.
it's time for the outros.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
Let me get to the thing and switch
Your
the
first
thing
Sean.
over. There we go. Okay. Hey everybody. This was a blast. I had a great time. Thanks for hanging out with us in chat. Next session, we'll figure out what other growing garden we get to enter. I love wild Earth planets. I'm Sean Nittner. I use he him pronouns. You can find me everywhere. that place. And things I'm really excited about right now. I just wrote another island for Agon that I'm going to release, and it's a teaser for something else. Yeah, that's going to happen in a month or two or something like that. And someday that book will print because the printers will open. So yeah, Agon things are very exciting. Strash just turned in his island. I'm excited about that. And oh well, I won't talk about all your stuff because you can talk about it. How about you, Lauren?
I guess I've been Lauren. I use she, they. I'm at the Stray Kiwi on Twitter and everywhere else. What am I excited about? Well, we just had Go Underground last night for a few folks who are keen for some more AP. Last time oh god, it was such a long time ago.
8 hours.
Oh yeah, like we went into like we met scary. We met a dragon who seemed scary, wasn't super scary. Learned some magic. Our young girl's becoming a wizard to take down the evil crowing king. So should be ramping into the finale sometime soon if you want to like catch up on what we've been at and come join us for fun. Otherwise, I'm just playing Dragon Age 2 a lot because I enjoy being a disaster bisexual in a fantasy setting where you take down the establishment. That's all for me. How about you, Stephen?
Hey everybody, I'm Steven, aka Silent Osiris on the internet. I use he, him pronouns, and yeah, I don't know. This was really fun. I had a really good time playing with y'all. In the life of Steven, we missed our session of the Sunfall Cycle, my Dark Souls Dungeons and Dragons game, this past Wednesday. So hopefully we're going to be back in the saddle this coming Wednesday for more Dark Souls action. And I released another update to the game that I'm writing today to the Discord channel, Forged in the Marches, which is a Forged in the Dark West Marches style fantasy role-playing game. And that's really fun and exciting. And I hope that I will be able to continue the pace. I think that's all for me. So Jen, take it away.
Hello, I am Jen Martin. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at 10penjen. We at Bully Pulpit have 4,000 Roll20 codes for Fiasco, and there is a technical glitch that is preventing some things from happening. I am so eager for people to have these codes and be able to play Fiasco on Roll20. It is imminently happening. I really am hoping by the next time we play, all the backers will have been able to get at it. So that's what I'm most excited and anticipating. Strash, what about you?
Hey, I'm Strash, he, him. I'm one of the regular streamers here, so you can catch me on a bunch of games on actual play. I also have a very loving set of cats that are currently trapping one of my arms. Let's see. I believe before we play next time, there will be another episode of Project Perseus, which is basically like James Bond fighting vampire conspiracies kind of stuff. It's like super spies versus the supernatural. And
So cool.
I've been working on this game. It's my new project, which is not West Marches style 50 fantasy stuff. So I'm actually getting ready to do some playtests of that, which I'm very excited about. And then that's it mostly for me. It's been work and quarantine. So
Quarantine life.
yeah. It's not actually quarantine, it's just shelter in place, but yeah, because we're technically not sick, so we're not fully quarantined. But yeah. So yes, that's me. That's my life. That's what I'm doing. You can find me on Twitter at StrashA. And that's all I've got. I've got another game tonight, so it's a very busy
You are
weekend.
such a machine. Such a machine. Oh my
Uh,
goodness. All right.
I-
Jen, you reminded me the Agon Roll20 sheets just came out. So although you can't get the physical book, that is
Nice.
you can now play it on Roll20. I'm excited about that too. And get the Fiasco ones, man. I can't wait for that because that game is so good. We have a stream on that. We have a VOD of that of playing with the Fiasco cards on.
We
on
do.
the-
It was
on the channel.
very good.
It was fantastic. All right, everybody. I think we're good. We'll see you all anon.